Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. Today's topic, we are on part 3 of a series on the Jubilee. This was something that I had released about 7 years ago. And we arguably are in the midst of currently a Shemitah or sabbatical year. And so the subsequent year after the sabbatical or Shemitah year would be a Jubilee year. Now, I'm of the argument that nobody knows when the next Jubilee is. In fact, I haven't seen anybody who has been able to accurately identify the Jubilee cycle. Lots of opinions, but at the course of it, I just think humanity has failed to tell time as God has directed. So, scripture references out of Leviticus 25 verses 11 and 12. The 50th year, that 50th year, shall be a Jubilee for you. In it you shall neither sow nor reap what grows of itself, or gather the grapes from the undressed vines. For it is a Jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You may eat the produce of the field. So the same agricultural rules apply for the Jubilee year as a sabbatical or a Shemitah year. A Jubilee year is like a sabbatical year, but it's kind of on steroids. And by definition, a Jubilee year comes immediately after a Shemitah year. You can also get that reference from Leviticus 25 verses 8 through 13. I also provided a link here, PaulthePoke.com, Shemitah. I think there are about four posts on the concept of a Shemitah or a sabbatical year. You can take a look at that on the studies, get hopefully a better understanding of these concepts or that concept. So, but back to the Jubilee, for 2 consecutive years, the land is to rest. There is to be no physical labor or working of the land. Seed is not to be planted. The soil is not to be tilled or turned over. Weeds are left to grow unchecked. Olive trees are not to be trimmed or pruned. Grapevines are left unattended to grow wildly. Whatever grows, grows. Farmers are not to harvest or gather crops that do grow during the sabbatical year or the Jubilee year. And the food that grows is for the farmer, servants, workers, foreigners, and the poor. The food that's not eaten by the people, the remainder is for the animals. So there will be stuff that just naturally happens and grows. It's just, as a farmer, you're not attending to it and trying to maximize its production. Now, this doesn't seem very practical on the surface. What are you going to eat if we let the land rest for 2 consecutive years? So no farming activity every 49th and 50th year. Take 3 years before any organized farming and harvest is to take place. So the context of these verses is the discussion of consecutive Sabbath years of rest for the land, a 7-year Sabbath and a year of Jubilee following. And the question is being asked of God, if we cannot work the fields, how are we expected to eat and survive? Now, this is something within the context of the law that was given to the Jewish people. But here's what, it sounds crazy. And God does have a plan. Leviticus 25 verses 20 through 22. But if you say, what are we going to eat on the 7th year if we do not sow or gather in our crops? Then I will so order my blessing for you in the 6th year that will bring forth the crop for 3 years. So he's talking about a Sabbath and subsequent Jubilee year when it will bring forth the crop for 3 years. When you are sowing the 8th year, you can still eat old things from the crop, eating the old until the 9th year when the crop comes in. So God says he's going to abundantly provide with bumper crops in the year before the land's sabbatical rest, 3 times the usual amount. So if anything, if it's not a Jubilee year following, you're getting the benefit of graciousness on 6 of the 7 sabbatical sets, or 6 of the 7 years that would be sabbatical years. And 3 times the production should do it. So in the context of a Jubilee year, you would have a Shemitah year, Jubilee year, and one for the crop planted when the farming is reinitiated until harvested. So God's got it covered. And in that 6th year, prepare and save for the season. You know what's coming. He tells you it's coming. So in the 6th year, when it's a big crop, save it, preserve it. And again, the Shemitah and Jubilee are part of the Mosaic law for the promised land of God's chosen people, Israel. But this is just fascinating beyond belief. This was 7 years ago, October 2021. This is what happened around the planet. Okay, and this is again an old post from October 2014. Record crops in North and South America. We got 3 links if you want to check those out to review how crops came in 7 years ago. The Ukraine, known as the breadbasket of Europe, record crops in Europe, specifically Ukraine. Now, this was interesting. At the time, Russia was trying to control and annex the Ukraine. They haven't done it yet. They've annexed parts of it, like the eastern part of the country, and they also now control the Crimea, which was the seaport referred to, in this post that allows grains to be easily exported. So Russia now controls the Crimean Peninsula. It used to be under the control of Ukraine 7 years ago. Record crops in Australia in the spring of 2014. And last year's global harvest was the largest on record in 2014. So it makes sense, if we're looking at this, you should be able to look back in history and make a determination. There should be a pattern in place. So just start skipping back in 7-year increments. So previous big crops, from 2021, we should be able to look back. Well, we know 2014 was the case. Then go back every 7 years, 07, 2000, 1993, 1986, etc. And then this was from the USDA, U.S. Bureau of Census, New York Times. Hardly God or Bible friendly sources. The previous largest record of agricultural production was in 2007. Imagine in line with the Mosaic law in the sabbatical or Shemitah year, or the 6th year of the 7-year cycle. And then another peak year for grain production was 1986. So you can just, a quick review of Google search, you can find when big crops came in on a global scale, which takes us to this year. And I got this from, again, the USDA, World Agricultural Supply and Demand Estimates. Not so much the U.S., but just take a look for global wheat outlook for 21-22, increased supplies. Okay. Supplies are projected to rise by 7.1 million tons. So here we go again, another bumper year for wheat. Canada, EU, India, higher production, Australia, China, all of them, more wheat. Coarse grains, talking corn on a global scale. 2021 coarse grain outlook, larger production again. Looking at rice, 21-22 global outlook, increased supplies. So we got more rice. Supplies increased by 9.5 million tons. India's productions, 1 million tons of that. So there, the same pattern is happening, and you can go back every 7 years, which would be the 6th year of the 7-year sequence, and see how, even on a global scale, the pattern is in place to provide more grains, more food to get through, not only the sabbatical year, but the Jubilee year as well. So And I know some, oh, it's just a coincidence. Well, maybe so, maybe not. But that's kind of the idea. God will provide the food, bumper crop in the 6th year of the 7-year cycle, with a production of three times more than what you usually see. So, um, at any rate, hope you find that kind of interesting. I find that very fascinating. That essentially every 7 years in the 6th year of a 7-year cycle, crop production is up a lot more. God says three times. So there'll be plenty of food if nothing happened for the next 3 years. So if you enjoy this, please feel free to share with others. PaulthePoke.com. Also, if you'd like to subscribe, type your email address in here in the little gray box. Hit subscribe. You'll receive notification every time we put something out. And this is an ongoing series on the Jubilee. Like you're in the far right column, click on Jubilee. You'll have all the articles we've posted going back 7 years. And these are reposts from what had happened 7 years ago. And if I'm here, we're all still here 7 years from now, I'll probably repeat this cycle. So, cycle of articles. And I'm sure the pattern will hold true when we get to 2028. That will probably be a big harvest as well. Just is what it is. So, appreciate you guys following along. Hope you have a great day. Take it easy. Bye.